our wonderful. And our guest lecturer, Mr. Kolaole Ola Bijo. This is an exciting day, a very exciting day. It's an exciting day because it's the day that every generational ignorance will be permanently damaged in our midst today. Thank you very much, and I want to encourage all students to please connect with everything. Connect with your ears, connect with your eyes, connect with your blood, connect with everything. And I believe that it's going to be a fruitful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma'am, sir. I would like to establish the protocol for these events. I would like to start on by recognizing the presence of the Vice Chancellor, Remark University, the presence of Professor Charity Aremu. You're welcome, Ma. I would like to recognize the presence of the Dean, College of Business and Social Science, Dr. Ben Caleb. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to recognize the presence of the Director Lucrid, the HOD's economy, the HOD here presence, and you're welcome. At this point, we'll be going over to the welcome address by the Dean CBS. I'll be welcoming the Okay, I'm going next for the VC remarks, and we'll be welcoming the Vice Chancellor, Remark University, Professor Charity. So it permits me to recognize the representative of the registrar, Mr. Sam. So first and foremost, we'll be going to the registrar remark, and I'll be welcoming Mr. Sam Dari for the Vice Chancellor's remark. You're confusing me.
Okay, please, can we invite the Dean for his remarks? Please put your hands together as we welcome the Dean for his remarks. Dr. Ben Caleb.
The Vice Chancellor, the registrar here represented, recognize the HODs and directors here present, and please permit me to, kings and queens, I've not forgotten you guys. I want to stand on the established protocols. 1999, 2000, I was in my final year, University of Calabar. And there was this story that accountants and many of us in the social sciences will lose our job because of IT. Interestingly, I was a Nwasa president then. During the Nwasa week, I organized a conference and went to town to invite the manager of KPMG, who was then Mr. Basi Asuko, to ask him, now that they have in IT and we are entering the millennium, will accountants still have jobs? Will economists still have jobs? Will marketers still have jobs? Or IT will take over every job? So we can go somewhere else and look for jobs, maybe in other fields. And Mr. Asuko said, I can't forget that answer. Computer does not know accounting, so keep on accounting profession. Say computer doesn't know accounting. It's garbage in, garbage out. That's why I'm so excited to welcome everyone to this meeting today regarding the opportunities that are available to the social scientists. And I believe strongly that the resource person is well prepared to teach us on this meal. And at the end of the day, we will all satisfied that we have come for this program. And I want all of us, and the students especially, to prepare our minds to be open. I'm sure you are here ready with your questions. You are ready with your questions to ask, because the facilitator, Mr. Kolawole, is very much ready. And at the end of the day, I'm sure we all will be glad we came for this program. Once again, I want to appreciate everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, the Dean of College of Business and Social Science. Standing on the already established protocol, please let's welcome the registrar's representative, Mr. Sam Dare, for his remark.
Thank you very much, dear Amy. The Vice Chancellor, ma'am, permit me to stand on the already briefly rolled out protocol this morning. From what the Dean CBS has said, it's very clear that there's been a paradigm shift in the industry. And I know for him to have said what he said, being the very key player in the industry himself, there must be some kind of sense in it. The workplace, as we know it, the workplace of the 21st century is fast becoming too dynamic, and only persons who are progressives and agile-minded can survive in it. Vice Chancellor Ma, permit me to give this illustration before I take my seat. Earlier this week, a pathfinder was talking to me on how that she clinched a job in the managerial cadre. Clinched a job in the managerial cadre. She graduated from the industrial chemistry program 4 years ago and clinched a job in the managerial cadre in a multinational firm. According to her, she applied for the job with person with heavier qualifications and much better experience. Yet, she clinched the job. Apparently, there was a practical session that was organized in the course of the interview, and she led a young girl who graduated from this place 4 years ago. That goes to show that, well, we need our certificates, but the emphasis employers of labor are placing on applicants now is what they can deliver, the deliverables. The same goes for the employees in every organization. That is the essence, I believe, why we are having this webinar this morning. The platform is set, the target is here. All we need is just to take advantage of all the leverages we've had, and we'll be set for the workplace of the future, even as we continue in the 21st century. On this note, may I request that we rise to our feet as I bring to the podium the Vice Chancellor, Landmark University, Professor Charity Omu-Aran, to the microphone.
Good morning, everyone. Please, may we be seated. I'm excited to be here. Yes, I'm not the key speaker, but I like to be intentional in anything I do. That's why I said you will permit me to share some slides with us and be able to move on from there. It's all about 21st century research. And before I go ahead, let me start with a protocol. I want to appreciate starting from where we are coming from. The proprietor base this morning, the Chancellor, David Olani Oyedepo, the Pro-Chancellor, Adiamomi, Pastor Faith, Mrs. Oyedepo. We want to also appreciate the leadership of Landmark University, the Registrar Landmark University, who is unavoidably absent but ably represented. I want to appreciate the Dean of the College of Business and Social Sciences, and of course, Dr. Ben Caleb, whom we all know. I also stand this morning to appreciate the HOD of Economics, Dr. Obasajo, and the HOD of Accounting here seated, dear Dr. Fakile, one of the professors, I can see one of the professors in the college, and that is dear Professor Wanjisa. You are welcome this morning. All the faculty, I can see everyone rallying around the HOD of Economics and the Dean of the college. Everyone, well, Dr. Femi is here, and and then we also have Mrs. Popola is here, and then we also have Dr. Obadiaru, yes, Dr. Obadiaru, and then we also have Dr. Eluyela, one of the youngest PhD holders, and then we also have our dear sister Ashinyobola. Okay, you are there. I do hear Ashinyobola. Then some of us standing behind, some of our lecturers. Please, let's put our hands together for all the faculty and staff in that college and departments respectively. I will not end this, but to also appreciate my team, because coming back home, we have the director, Landmark University Center for Research, Innovations and Discoveries, and that's Dr. Adedun Adeolu. Then I also have members of his team, Mr. Jibade, and then many more. And we have the Corporate Affairs Unit also represented here. We thank you all for being here this morning. Now to our dear kings and queens, especially of Economics Department, Accounting Department, Agriculture, College of Agriculture. I'm sure some of us should also be here. In fact, I know lectures are ongoing, preparations for the third CA. The third CA is also running. We want to appreciate everyone being here. Looking at 21st century research is not a game for only the College of Business and Social Sciences. Social sciences is a study that everyone, no matter your choice of study, it cuts across. At home, we are all social scientists. Anywhere we find ourselves, we are all social scientists. I was telling someone when he said, no, I'm in engineering. As much as you can count money, spend money, ensure you do a kind of management of your time, of your resources, then you're a social scientist. And so I want to say this morning that I appreciate the privilege of bringing the opening remarks for this special day. Now, moving forward, career opportunities. What am I going to speak on briefly? There are things we need to take home from here. I'm just passionate at we understanding why we are here. And so number one, what are the 4 C's that you must consider as someone going to be part of 21st century research? What are the 4 C's? Now, moving forward, by definition, 21st century has been ingrained in educational thinking and future planning. especially for we educators, for we planners, for we administrators, looking at how to do things better. That is all about 21st century research. How can we improve on the existing? Looking at the implications of it all in the area of technology, in the area of health. And so that is the essence of 21st century research. And I want to say that we keep hearing 21st century research, and we are in the year 2022. I mean, you want to say, what's the relationship between 21st? We left 2021. We may say it has a relationship. Now we are in 2022. What about it? And so I want to say that 21st century research has to do with the mid-20th century. Mid-20th century. And it includes everything you can think of. Everything you can think of. Today, students are involved in what we call tech savvy. Students are tech savvy, where they are expected to be literate in the 21st century skills. Everything we do today has gone beyond even the millennium. We are now in a technology age and world, such that you have to be technology savvy. The people in the workroom, I hope you can see, or do I do the sliding myself? Now, social sciences, we are all there. Like I said, it includes every area of our lives. And before we can think 21st century research, we have to look at our brain, and which we call the cognitive domain. We also have to consider the interpersonal relationship and our intersocial relationship. All of this help us to define 21st century research. Today, students are in the world of, like I said earlier on, but looking at 21st century research, when did it commence? When did it start? Well, we want to say since 2001. Since 2001. And you know what? It will continue until we get to 2100 before something else emerges. So it captures your ages. 21st century research captures your ages until 2100. You know we are in 2020. So meaning that we have how many years more to get there? Huh? This is 20, and by the time you add 80 to 20, you have 100, isn't it? 78. We have 78 years more to go. And you know what that means? That means between now and the next 78 years, most of us, well, for our level, but for you, we believe God to spare all of us. But the youthful life, the youthful season would have been gone. So you are counted amongst the 21st century class of persons that must engage actively. Now, what are the skills and knowledge that we need for the 21st century research? Everything about you is needed. Your creativity skill, that's why we are promoting that by all means. Your research innovation skill, that's why we are promoting that across faculty, across staff. Your communication and collaboration skill, all of these are needed in this 21st century research. And so it has to do with developing yourself, your dexterity in addressing issues. This is very important. Your proficiency. How do you execute skills and tasks? How are you able to cope with time and season? These are the things you need now as young scientists, which we are looking at. Now, looking at the world of career in social sciences, about your health, human services, legal, political professions, counseling, and even accounting. All of these are involved when you look at 21st century research. Career, like people will say, is universal, especially for your ages. That's why any training you get now has to move you forward to any environment you find yourself, and then you are able to fit in. That's why you need knowledge about 21st century research. You need to know more. Where you know more, you still need to learn and keep learning. A 21st century social scientist have the responsibility of using both existing and new knowledge to provide services, to service or care for the society. And so, what are the 4 C's we are looking at? Number 1, you have to engage your mentality in critical thinking as a 21st century research. You have to know how to communicate, because you may have knowledge of something, but moving it forward in the name of communication, you are not able. So it's not sufficient to know something. You also need to communicate what you know. And it goes beyond you doing it alone. You must have a teamwork. Work with people. Be able to innovate. Think, communicate, share your ideas, collaborate with persons so that you are able to bring up what we call innovations. And that's your creative ability. That is the 4 C's that we are looking at. And so as a social scientist, unlike your other counterparts in this real engineering and sciences, you are the go-between. You are the go-between between the scientists, between the engineers, and then you come in between them because you are expected to be the communicator. You are expected to be the one to relate what one finds with the other. Like a professor said, I wanted to understand motives. I wanted to. It goes beyond that. You must understand it. It goes beyond, oh, I wish I could. It goes beyond that. You are expected to. And so the skills that you need, digital transformation, it goes beyond, oh, I am a mass com. In fact, mass com has no choice but to work with digital, Oh, which other area now? Economist, you may say my own is to work in the bank, work with organizations that has to do with money. I mean, I have a relationship with accountants. It goes beyond that. You have to engage all of this. Product management, problem solving, adaptability. Because the whole world now, you must be able to adapt to any change around you and fit in, And so these are the various skills: data analysis, artificial intelligence. You have to have a rounded knowledge in every area if you want to fit in into the 21st century workman or manpower. And so moving forward again, we are looking at, okay, what are the rules that you need that will guide you? I believe all of this will also be coming up. You must be able to ask questions every moment, every opportunity you have. In fact, this one is causing a lot of challenge between me and my children at home. The one you say, do this, he or she goes ahead and do anything. That's not what I sent you. Why didn't you ask question? We must embrace question asking. You must be able to, don't relax and say, okay, I understand. I should understand. No, a 21st century scientist must always ask questions and then analyze, test, construct. These are the key words that is associated with a 21st century scientist. If you're able to embrace question asking, construction, testing your ability, producing answers, procedural steps taken, analyzing data, then you are a 21st century researcher. Then what do we expect the 21st century scientists to contribute, especially social scientists? What are you expected to contribute? You are to encourage people in your community. You are to be the go-between. As much as you remember the 3-pronged mission statements of Landmark, that's expected of you. As here, you should be a solution provider. Then you should see yourself as taking the lead in anything and then be able to reform people around you reform your society. And then create new knowledge. That is the contribution of a social scientist in the 21st century era. You have to create new knowledge, and that's when you are innovative. And then in doing all of this, what is expected of you? Competence. You are expected to be competent. Remember I said your training is rounded. And then when you are rounded in knowledge, in understanding, in skill, then you are competent to take up any assignment. And so I want to also admonish, in addition to being competent, teamwork is essential. Teamwork is very, very essential. Now, your competence considers your skill. It considers your experience. It considers your knowledge base. Knowledge, skill, experience is equal to competence. It's equal to competence. And so, in trying to round up, please move on. I think we have also captured this one. Please move on. Why are we here today in rounding up? We are here to listen to an expert who was there in the industry and who is still there in the academics, and no any other person than Mr. Kolawole Olajide Oladejo. And that will be our key facilitator for today. I'm sure he's online now. Yes. And so we want to seize this opportunity to appreciate Mr. Kolawole Olajide Oladejo, who is based in, anyway, don't let me go beyond that, because we have someone that will come up and tell us about Mr. Kolawole Oladejo. And so I want you to relax. Put your pen on your paper right away as we await to receive this man who is proven in the area of social sciences with competencies working around the globe. He has worked in several areas. And so when he comes up, he may spend very short while with you. That's why I took time to explain the details, because I've seen his presentation. And there are areas you need to be very much conversant with before he comes up. So the need for you to be a 21st century researcher is already opened up to you. And so before I go to take my seat, I want to say that the illiterate of the 21st century era will not be those who cannot read and write. So don't say because I have my degree, I'm qualified to be a 21st century social scientist. It goes beyond that. But those who can learn, who can unlearn, who will take time to relearn whatever they have done, those are the 21st century social scientists. So prepare yourself this morning to learn. And if there are some things you need to drop, unlearn them. And if there are some things you need to add to what you know, then take them up and relearn. And I believe after today, you'll be better for it, and you'll be qualified to be pronounced a 21st century social scientist. And so on this note, I want to welcome us and believe that it will be a most insightful season. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Divine Chancellor. We appreciate you for the impactful presentation. Please, may we have our seats? Thank you. To take us further in this 16th Lucrid Webinar, it's my pleasure to invite the presence of Dr. Banji Ayeni to take the citation of the guest speaker. Let's join us now for Dr. Ayeni.
Thank you, sir. Standing on the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar and Abstention ably represented, standing on existing protocols, I humbly request the guest speaker to please rise while his additions be read. I believe he's doing that already. Thank you. Kolawole Oladejo had his first degree in economics from the University of Ilorin Nigeria, where he graduated in the top 5% of his class. He's a chartered accountant, fellow of the Association of the Chartered Certified Accountants, FCCA, in the United Kingdom. He has over 10 years of banking experience, spanning digital transformation, data analytics, customer experience and innovation, customer insight gathering, relationship management, market research, business performance analysis, sales strategy formulation, and implementation. He's currently an MBA fellow at the Pennsylvania State University in the United States. Prior to this, he was the head of the data analytics team of Remark Bank Nigeria, the bank that created Nigeria's first fully digital bank, Elast. In this role, he was responsible for delivering the strategic value of data and its important role as a business asset and revenue driver to the executive and employees. He was also responsible for establishing data governance framework for the bank and ensuring that the bank builds a culture where decisions are data-driven. Before joining Wema Bank, he was the head of Service Innovation and Measurement at First City Monument Bank, FCMB, where he was responsible for measuring customer experience across various touchpoints using metrics like Net Promoter Score, NPS in abbreviation, Customer Satisfaction Score, and Customer Effort Score. With this word of experience, I indulge you to get your pen and paper as stated by our Vice Chancellor to have a lifetime experience. Join me with ovation as you welcome Mr. Kolawole Oladejo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen in a bit. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, good. First of all, is to say thank you very much for having me. Thank you to the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar, every lecturer said. Thank you very much. I don't take this opportunity for granted at all. My hope is that this session would help to put career growth and trajectory in perspective for students. And then they can get all that they need very early so that by the time they hit the labor market, it will be easier for them. Okay. So this presentation would have 5 different sections. The first one is I'm going to talk a bit about some of the backstories in my own career so that people can understand a few things that can help them in theirs. And then I'm going to share a few career tips. Now, these career tips that I will share, they are not exhaustive, really. They are just a few things that helped me that I think can help others also. And then the VC talked about emerging career opportunities, and I think that's key, right? What are the new things that are happening in the labor market today? New skills that are required in today's world. We'll talk about that also. And then I intend to have a lot of time for question and answers because I think that is where people will be able to really communicate, and I'll be sure that I've actually added value in today's session. So again, I don't need to say too much about this. They've talked about my career already, right? But I'll be mentioning various things about myself and about some of the decisions I took along the way during this presentation. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that your career is really your business. Now, the mistake that I made, that a lot of people that I know also made, is that you allow your organization to lead your career. And I think that's a a big error, right? You are the one who will determine the kind of career that you want for yourself. So my first career tip, therefore, is don't just be working, build a career. Now I'm going to share a story here. Now I'm going to try to share stories at different points, just so that people can see what I mean by each of them. Now, I graduated very early, right? At least comparatively as at the time. I graduated at age 20, and I started my career very early. I got a job immediately while still serving. You know, but I wasn't really building a career. It didn't dawn on me that I needed to build a career that. So I was just working, just having fun, earning good money. I was working in the bank. Whoever knows Social Bank at the time would know that, you know, the bank was paying well. So I was really doing well, right? The bank would every year be increasing our salaries, but I was not growing. Most of us were not growing. We were just earning more money without necessarily growing until they took over the bank. And then it dawned on most of us that we needed to wake up. Now, I was lucky. I was lucky because, and I'm going to talk about some of those things because I had a mentor who believed in me and liked me and helped push my career. And I ended up becoming a branch manager at 26. But not many people will be that lucky. You know, so it's important that you are very strategic in your career decisions. Most employers of labor will just put you in a role that suits them, not the role that suits you. So you need to ask yourself, this role that I'm doing, how does it fit into the bigger picture? For example, I have friends who were tellers. They were graduates, but they were tellers. Now you now ask, so what skill would this tellering give to me in 10 years, in 15 years, in 5 years, right? So these are things that even in today's world, where I am now in the US, you can scan your check on your phone. So that means you don't need that teller anymore to do that. So you need to always think, what I am doing now, what skill am I getting? What value would it add in the future? So I think that's key. The second thing I would like to say is your skill is what will separate you from the crowd. Now, I'm sure they've said, like they said earlier, I'm a chartered accountant, right? I wrote ACCA exams from the first paper to the last one, right? There was even a year, I think 2017 or so, I got bored and I wrote ICANN also and still passed it. But eventually what helped me in my career was not really those certifications. It was the skills. And I will talk about some of those skills later. And I didn't discover this very early, right? If you check, for those who probably have gone through my LinkedIn profile, if you check, you see that there was a period of about 4 years that I was on the same level, right? And you know, I had to start asking myself, come, what's going on? And then I started learning some of those skills that helped me relaunch, right? And I'll talk about them also in this presentation. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is don't get comfortable early. Now, I got comfortable very early. I mean, I was a branch manager at 26. I was what you can consider to be a big boy, right? But I wasn't growing in terms of my career. It was just the money that was coming in, right? So don't get comfortable early. So anyone who is in 300, 400 level now, and you are you're going to graduate in the next few years, you will get to a point in your career where you will be comfortable. But if you stay too long on that comfort state, you will never get to the top, never. So that's why it's important that you don't get comfortable early. Don't get comfortable early. The next point I'm going to mention is think global. Now, I will say this, when I finished my ACCA exams, I think in 2012 or 2013, I had the opportunity of going to the United States, right? To the UK, to the United Kingdom, right? But it didn't make sense to me at the time. Now, I'm not saying everybody should, you know, take opportunity, but always analyze your opportunities very well and think global. So, right, I was wondering, so, I mean, will I now go to the UK? I was doing well in Nigeria, so I didn't take that opportunity, right? By the time I was now ready, it then turned out to be that they had stopped the post-study work permit at the time. So despite the fact that I was an ACCA fellow, it was difficult for employers to take me from Nigeria. So you do the interview, they will see that you're good and all that, but it was difficult. So always ask yourself, what this talent that I have, is this the best it can give to me? Right? So think global, always think big. Don't just limit yourself to a small area. Because, and I'm saying some of these things because of my own experience, right? I served in the North and I grew very fast, also in the North, and I was doing really well. So, but it got to a point where I needed to wake up and say, because I saw other friends of mine who were doing far better. So when you get to the point in your career when you think, oh, you've arrived, always ask yourself, is this the best you can be? Is this the maximum you can be? So that by the time you retire, you say, oh, I fully achieved my potentials, right? And the world gets to know about you. That's the target. You know, even the Bible says, let your light so shine that men may see your good deeds and praise your Father who is in heaven. So don't just shine in one corner, shine all over the world, right? The next thing I'm going to say is locate your passion. Now, what I mean by passion is this. When you start your career, what typically happens in most organizations is they will look at you, look at where there is space within the organization and put you there. So for example, if you are the type that is very artistic and the organization puts you in a very quant-based role, there is a mismatch. That's not your passion. That's not what you are. So the possibility that you would grow very fast in that kind of a role is very limited. What you then need to do is to say, look, this is what I'm good at, and look for opportunities to be able to get into those roles that can help you truly shine, right? Then the next thing I'm going to say, and this is very key, get a support system. I don't know, I'm sure most people have heard about how crazy Lagos is, for example, right? I was in Lagos for so many years. If I didn't have a solid support system around me, there's no way, there's absolutely no way I would have gotten far. So get a support system, get family, get friends who believe in you, who can help you achieve what you want to achieve. Now, I'm going to also mention faith, right? That's also a support system, because you can't actually be greater than the force behind you. You can't. So you, and yeah, I know we're talking about 21st century and all of that, but there is the place of ensuring that you stay connected, so that, because it's a very competitive world out there, right? I wish I can see the faces of people I'm talking to, but I can't. You know, it's a very competitive world out there. So you need to make sure that, I mean, you are solid, right? And then again, the next point I'm going to mention is mentors. Now, this has helped me tremendously. Every place that I am, I try to look for people who have what I need, right? At every stage. While I was a copper, I got a mentor. When I started working, I got a mentor. It was a mentor of mine that mentioned to the management at the time that despite that I was just 26, I could manage a branch, and I was given that opportunity. It was a mentor of mine that got me my first job in Lagos when I was trying to move, because again, I'm sure most people would know, it's difficult to change career in Nigeria. It's a lot easier here in the US. I see people moving from, I have a friend who used to be an artist, right? And now is in finance. Like those things are very different, and he's not even qualified and all that. They just need to know that you have an idea of finance, and they will give you a finance role. But those things are a lot more difficult in Nigeria. So I got to a point where I qualified as a chartered accountant, but I was still in sales. And I knew that I can't continue in sales because my skill, my passion was in, I'm a very numerate person, right? My ability is really in analysis, in ability to look at the numbers and say, this is where the money will come from. So, but it was a mentor who got me that job, right? So pick mentors, pick people that have what you need. Now, again, I will say this also. When they are discussing your case, when you start your career, you won't be there. But there are people in the room that will speak for you. Right? I was just a senior banking officer, what people call SBO. When I was leading innovation for FCMB, another mentor helped me do that. Right? I was in South Africa in 2018, and I was talking about how you can use data to drive innovation. And then I met a man from Greece. He came to talk also. And he walked up to me and said, oh, that he's been wondering how he could help Wema Bank move from, the typical Wema Bank that we know to the standard. Would I like to work in Wema Bank? And I said, yeah, why not? Would you guys pay me good money? He said, yes, good money, no issues now. And I got like 3 steps or 4 steps ahead. Now, what are the key things in there? When I met him, I cultivated that friendship. I started following up with him. I started writing a few things, sharing it with him. He loved it. And that's how I got into Wema. So my point is, when people say your network is your network, it's very key. Your network is your network. It's very key because it is the people you know that will help you. And that's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's not, whether even in the US here, right? I don't want to. Okay, so even in the US here, it is your ability to be able to connect. The VC was talking about collaboration when she was talking, and I think that's key. People will look out for, oh, can I work with this person? Is this person friendly enough? Forget about the skill now. I'm going to talk about skills, right? But is this person the type that I can work with? In my various, especially in my last 2 roles, I got the opportunity of recruiting, right? And so before you get to me, when you do first stage of interview, second stage, before you get to me, my guys who have interviewed you have checked whether you have the skill. So that's not what I am looking for. I am looking for attitude. So when I tell you, so talk to me about yourself and all that, what have you done in your career and things like that, what I'm looking for at that point is not your skills. My guys have handled that. I'm looking for, can I mentor this person? Is this person teachable, right? Is this person someone who can work and deliver, right? I was in a very competitive environment. I was in a very fast-moving environment, right? Where they can call you at any time. When I was in Nigeria, they can say, oh, MD needs this, and it's Saturday or it's Sunday. But the MD needs it, you have to deliver. So I think another point I would raise here is you must be the type who your boss can rely on you. You must be dependable. Okay. Now, emerging career opportunities. Before I talk about emerging career opportunities, let me say a story of a young man that I met, I think in 2019. And I think that story is relevant to this audience. So in 2019, I just joined Wema Bank, and the management of the bank told me when I joined that, because there was no data analytics team at the time. By the way, I'm going to talk about data analytics, but at that time, the bank didn't have a data analysis, so I was the first person who was going to set up that department. And they told me I could go and recruit as many people as I wanted and whoever I wanted. It was a free check. Now, this kind of roles, we don't advertise it in the media, no, because we are looking for specific skill sets. Now, I'm going to tell you about a young man that I met. So, I was just about a week old in the bank. I was trying to think through, how do I make impact to this bank? How do I, justify the huge pay, and things like that. And then the bank was organizing a competition at the time called Hackathon. It was a competition for people who could code. Now, mind you, I have no clue what coding was about as at that time. Well, a few months before that time, I started learning how to code with R and SQL, but I was also learning. Now, I met a young man in that competition who just graduated from Lautech. And he came to pitch a product on credit scoring products. After his presentation, I enjoyed what he was talking about. So I walked up to him and said, look, how are you? He was just, I think, 25 or so at the time. And then I asked him if he wanted to work. He told me yes, that he would like to work. And then I said, okay, so come to my office, let's talk. And then he came, and then I got to know him. And then I realized that he was actually like the breadwinner of the family. But he was solid. So I asked him, you just left school like a year or two ago, and then you're already this good with data analytics, R and all that. And then he told me that it was during the time that the school was on strike. Every time the school is on strike, he would learn how and participate in competitions. That's how he was getting money. So when he told me that, I was impressed. Today, that guy, he's a mentee of mine. We work together. When I gave him the offer that, look, come and work for me, come and work with me, and all that. When he saw the offer, he started speaking in Yoruba, thanking me because he was really in a dire situation. Right? Today, the same guy I'm telling you is in Qatar. He's one of the lead decision scientists for one of the banks in Qatar. Big boy. Why? Because he got that skill very early. So I said this story because of what is going on all over the world, not just in Nigeria. The first thing I'm going to mention is digital transformation. There's a wave right now, not just in Nigeria, all over the world about digital transformation. What exactly does it mean? It means people are now taking convenience and comfort ahead of any other feature in any product that you have. So for example, I want to go to a bank, for example, but I don't necessarily want to leave my house to be able to bank. So that's why people have banking apps, right? I want to buy grocery, right? But I don't want to leave my house, so you can shop online. So the world is moving towards digital era. Now, digital transformation will require some specific skills that you would not have gotten so many years ago. For example, the data and AI space. AI means artificial intelligence. This space, you won't see banks here like 10 years ago, you won't. But banks are beginning to realize that as more people are transacting digitally, we can capture that data, right? And improve the quality of the marketing decisions that we make and things like that. So banks are going into that space. So those are the kind of spaces you want to start thinking about. That, look, if I graduate next year, where do I want to be? I'm going to talk about some skill sets that is required in each of these spaces. Another thing that's interesting in today's world is product management. Product management is simply about thinking about a product and how to improve on it. As simple as that definition is, that is what some people are earning a lot of money for. I have a friend who has moved from Apple to Google. And I'm talking about what Apple, like the people who make Mac and all. She has moved from Apple to Google, right? Microsoft. Right now, she earns over $500,000 just doing product management. So that's how big this career opportunity is. So what you want to do after this session is you want to start asking questions. What are the skills I need for each of these spaces? What do I need to know for each of these spaces? Now, I also want to say this before I move to the next point. The world is a very competitive space. Your competition is not in Nigeria. Your competition is not in Lagos or in Abuja or in Omu-Aran. Your competition is in the world. I hired a boy before I left Nigeria. When I was interviewing the guy, I was asking him what he said. The companies he told me he has worked, those companies are not in Nigeria. So I was wondering, You can't tell me this company. He said, yes, that he's working remotely. So he was working in Nigeria, but working for companies in the US. That's the world that we are in now, right? And that boy was solid. So I had to give him an offer, and we had to reach an agreement as to the number of times he will come to work physically. Now I'm saying all of this so that people can begin to think through the way the world is moving. We have to reach an agreement. Okay, you know what? You can come to office physically maybe twice a week and all of that. But there'll be weeks where you come fully. We had to reach that agreement before he accepted our offer. But the boy was good. So the next career opportunity I'm going to mention is financial management. Now, I used to be in this space, and I think it's still a very big space. If that's what you love to do. I just discovered that that's not my own niche. Financial management is that people want to be able to trust others who they feel have the knowledge with their financial needs. And I'm not taking it for granted at all, right? When you earn money, you want to be able to have people around you who can help you manage that money. So if you are the type who likes finance, accounting, there's a certification now called CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, right? It's a big thing in the US here, right? So you want to get those kind of certifications. Now, investment banking is like one of the biggest jobs you can have in the US, even in Nigeria, right? Right now, what is going on in Nigerian banks today is that Nigerian banks now have so much cash, they need to be able to invest that cash optimally. So they need financial managers. So you just see a young guy, oh, he has worked with maybe Chapel Hill. He worked with Chapel Hill for 1 year or 2 years. He did a few investment opportunities for them. And the bank is telling him to come and do senior manager or full manager. That's something that somebody else will use 10 years and will not get to that level. So you want to pay attention to that. Another thing that is important is information security. Now, because of the digital transformation wave, there's a lot of hackers right now, and a lot of them are in Nigeria, what you call Yahoo Yahoo. Now, those guys, before now, they used to hack into systems outside Nigeria, but right now, they hack into systems in Nigeria, right? So another booming opportunity is in information security. Now, and I'm not telling you things that are difficult to pivot into. Like I said, I am an accountant. I started my career in banking, in sales, but I moved into data when I realized that that was the in thing. So there is nothing here that I'm saying to you that you cannot pivot into, nothing, right? So information security is key. It's an area that is in demand. One of my mentors when I was back in Nigeria is an information security expert. The bank that I was working with at the time recruited him from UK, and then he relocated from UK to Nigeria. He's currently the CIO, Chief Information Officer of one of the banks in Nigeria. Why? Because that bank needed to beef up security, and they had to accelerate his promotion. So my point is, that's also a key aspect. Now, the next one is software engineering. Let me say this very clearly. In today's world, you should have at least one coding skill, at the very least. I didn't start coding until 2019. R and SQL, right? Until I was trying to move into the data space. I didn't start coding, and I think that's late. I told you about the boy who he's been doing R and R competitions, machine learning competitions from the time he was in school. When I was trying to make justification for that boy, I had to tell them, if I don't hire this boy, somebody else will. The boy spent, I think, just 2 years with us before he got a job in Qatar. So my point is, in talking about software engineering, learn at least one skill, one coding skill, at the very least. Now, whichever role that you are in, before I left, we're talking about having our FinCon guys, that the guys in finance, to understand SQL. That's the world that we're in today's world. So even if you are doing performance analysis, I'm going to talk about that later, you still need to be able to understand, how do I get the data out of the system, right? So that's key. Software engineering is also a booming area that you want to learn into. Now, I thought I should bring this here because I think, especially for people in social science, data science is a low-hanging fruit. I moved here because I saw that it was a low-hanging fruit, and I want to sell it to you. Now, look at this news. It says data science dominates LinkedIn's emerging job ranking. Artificial intelligence has 74% hiring growth in the past 4 years. Other roles such as data scientist, robotics engineer are growing quickly. I'm in the US today on the back of the data transformation that is going on. That's the truth. So this is an area that I think you want to learn. I'm going to talk about the skills you need in this area in subsequent slides. But please pay attention to it. If you're in social science, you're probably already doing things on statistics, right? So you're doing regression. If you are doing regression, right, you're already having the ability to be able to predict. You just now need to be able to move that knowledge to, because I mean, what exactly is prediction or this whole, and I'll talk about it also in the future in this slide, but I just think I should bring this up here. So I want to take a minute to talk about data analytics in Nigeria and about how it has moved from what it used to be. So now, in the past, what was key was, oh, can you do Excel? Can you help us analyze our data on Excel? If you can do that, oh, we'll pay you so much. But that has moved. That has moved, especially in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there are a lot of talents now who can do that and far more. So why would I hire somebody who all they can do is just to analyze data for me? So data analytics, and I was watching one of the previous episodes that my friend Shegun Obasaju sent to me. And I saw the speaker was talking about data analytics, descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. So I don't need to talk about what this is, but I just want to tell you that this is also applicable even in your career, right? You need to be able to say, because of the trend of events, this is what will happen, right? People are surprised when I say this, but I am not in Nigeria, but I have a contract still existing with Remark, at least up until March. The bank still pays me. So that should tell you, because you can say this is where money is coming from, and the bank will do it, and money will come from there, and they will give you your share, and you will pay your tithe. So that's analytics for you. Your ability to be able to interpret the numbers and predict, and then give solutions, data-driven solutions that organizations can follow, right? So before now, it used to be just descriptive. We would just look at historical performance and say, oh, this branch is doing well, or this product is doing well, and that's all. But today, on the back of what you have learned in statistics, that, okay, so y is equal to a plus bx, so y is dependent on your x, what are the other x's, right? I'm sure this is an academic environment, so I don't need to go into all of that, but that concept alone can help you say, oh, if I know all the various dependent variables on my y, I can then predict what my y would be, right? So that's what predictive is about. It's a bit more complex than that, but in a simplistic state, that's what it is. Now, so another thing that is also key is data engineering. And this is also not something that is far-fetched. For engineering, for example, you want to learn things like SQL, you want to learn things like Apache Pascal. I'm going to mention some of those things also in subsequent slides. So this is also a low-hanging fruit, data engineering. The guy who used to lead my engineering team while I was in Nigeria, did not study data. I think he finished, he did physics in school, right? He was also maybe 26 or 27. Right now, he has left Remark. He's now the head of engineering for one of the fintechs in Nigeria. So this is another booming area that you want to pay attention to. Now, business analyst. The dean talked about the fact that accountants will always be relevant. And I agree. Because all the system can do is, he talked about garbage in, garbage out, and I completely agree. At the end of the day, the system will only give you what you have given it. Somebody now needs to be able to say, how does this apply to my business? That's where you can come in. So if you are the type that, for example, you have the ability to be able to look at numbers and say, this is what this is saying, then you want to consider a career, or at least start a career in performance analysis, business analysis. Now, data governance is also another interesting field. Banks are taking data very seriously now, organizations generally, not just banks, right? In the US here, one of the biggest employers of labor is Amazon. And Amazon simply employs on data-driven abilities, especially for some key roles, right? And your ability to be able to look at data also at strategic level and say, oh, these are the decisions we need to make around our data. That's what data governance is about. It's about governing your data. Oh, these are the kind of data that you need as an organization. These are the data you don't need, right? And then you also want to, now, the last two bits here, the people who are dominating that space while I was in Nigeria are the lawyers, data governance and regulation, right? I got someone to join my team while I was still in Nigeria on regulation, because the Nigerian government issued NDPR, Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. And they told us they were going to fine us 1% or so of our revenue. So we need to take it seriously, especially because we're making money on the back of what we're doing with data. So we need to take it seriously. And so that skill was important, you know. So I think I just felt I should put this here just to, so some certifications. Now, I want to put a caveat here that certifications, all that certifications does for you is to validate your knowledge. But what will keep you in the job is your skills. When people see your resume and they see that, oh, this person is ICANN certified or ACCA certified, they will want to talk to you. But if they give you the job, I forget sometimes what certification some of the people who work with me have, because it doesn't matter anymore. You got in the job, it is your skill that matters now. So I just felt I should put this here because what the certifications will do for you is to give you a foot in the door, at least from my own experience. But if you like have ACCA, CFA, ICANN, if I say run this analysis for me on Excel and the quality of your work is not good, I fire you, or I tell you to go to another team. It's as simple as that. So your certification is not it's not the ultimate. It's good. I have them. I think I mentioned earlier that I wrote ICANN. I'm the type who likes to challenge myself. So I got bored one time and I felt, what can I quickly do that is like very accessible? So I can work it. So let's do it. And I was still working, right? I was still getting home very late and all that. But I still, so I have these certifications, but I think what really matters is not those certifications. You need them because of the competition, you need people to be able to at least listen to you. But it is the skills I will mention in subsequent slides that you need to pay more attention to. Now, these are the certifications: ICANN, ACCA, CFA. Project management is also a very new field and it's also very lucrative. So pay attention to that. There is something now that a friend of mine told me about, so I thought I should put it here. I don't know so much about it, but she said that, I mean, especially in Canada, those who are in Canada and all that, it's a certification that is really in demand. But in Nigeria, I really didn't hear so much about certified business analysis professionals. Maybe people who are in this audience can say much about it, but But I mean, I'm just saying that's yet another certification you can get. Now, because of the digital transformation era that I mentioned, you also want to get certifications by recognized organizations like Microsoft. AWS is Amazon Web Services. Now, you know, the world is moving into cloud, right? Where you can keep your data off-site and all of that. So if you have the ability to be able to handle data while in the cloud, you are a hot cake, right? Let me say this. I don't know if people are aware that right now what's going on in most organizations is two people can be on the same level, but they will earn different pay. Because the organization sees that this one has more value than the other. You know, so that's the world that we're going into now. Now, this is the slide that I love the most. This is the slide I want you to pay so much attention to. I mentioned skill set, and I study statistics because I think your statistical knowledge or skill, we underplayed it when I was in school, but it's something I think you should pay so much attention to because it is the basis of a lot of things that you do, especially in the data space. So statistics is key. You know, all those things we learned about p-values, right? When your p-value is greater than 0.5, all those things, very key, because that's when you will know what variable to drop that is relevant for your model and whatnot. So imagine that you didn't pay attention to those things in school, or you don't know those things, and then somebody is interviewing you and asking you that, look, how would you take this decision? What are the variables you will consider? Right? Excel. Now, when I was in school, I had no clue what Excel is about. I had no clue. But in today's world, people even assume that you know Excel because it is now like basics. So if you are in 300 level, you are in 400 level, you cannot do pivot table, do VLOOKUP, do if functions. You have work to do. Now, how is very similar to Excel. I mean, when I was trying to pivot into data, I was trying to look for, so I tried to learn Python. I didn't really get it that much. But when I started R, I got it, right? And I've seen that most people who are in social sciences, they seem to like R. So I might be wrong, but most people who have software engineering background seems to like Python, you know? But whatever works for you, just make sure you are at least one of this. Structured querying language. This one, if you are the type who wants to do finance, right, and you want to work in an organization, you want to be able to get data out without relying on IT by yourself. That's what SQL will do for you. Now, Power BI or Tableau, it's about data visualization. You want to get this skill. Even if you are now not in the data space and you are making presentations and you want to be able to convince people to make investment decisions, you will need to be able to present your charts in a way that is friendly enough for them to understand. And that's what Power BI or Tableau will do for you. You just drag and drop. So learn those things. Then other Microsoft suites, PowerPoint, Word, learn those. These ones are basics in today's world. Right? And then I put this here also because I think one of the things that I look out for, and a number of my colleagues look out for when they are talking to young graduates, is your ability to be able to speak intelligently on global trends, right? Political environment, economic environment, social, technological, environmental, legal. So I ask you, for example, what do you think is the post-COVID impact of this on my business? And you cannot articulate what that is. It's competitive, so you have to be on top of your game, right? Now, I decided to highlight post-COVID world because I think it is key. I was discussing with a professor of marketing analytics sometimes last week, and we're just talking about analytics, right? And by the way, that professor is, I think in the US, is one of the top 10. And he was telling me that analytics is moving very quickly away from just analyzing 20 years data to be able to, or 10 years data to be able to predict the future. So and I said, why that? Why is that? He said, because the post-COVID world is different from the pre-COVID world. Pre-COVID, people won't, for example, mind going out physically to grocery stores by themselves. But especially in this developed world now, post-COVID, a lot of people would rather, you know, stay in their houses and all that. So customer behaviors are changing, right? So your ability to be able to say, oh, what other metrics should I use? So for example, do you want to use moving average and all of that? Now I'm just pointing out all of this because you need to be aware of what is going on, right? What's the inflation rate in Nigeria, for example? What impact would that have on your business, right? What's the minimum discount rates? What's the cash reserve ratio? Some of these things, you need to be able to speak intelligently when you are talking to people. That way, even if you don't have the skill, you say, well, that guy is intelligent, let's give him a try. So that's my slide. So I'll take questions at this point. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause again. Standing on existing protocol, it is the question time, and we've invested them about 6 questions from our students. Now, I'm going to read them. Number 1, how best can I find online job opportunities as a final year student? That is, the students want to talk about how can, since he's still working, he's still a student, how can he get an online job? Then question number 2, as an economist, how can I start a successful agribusiness in Nigeria, considering the prevailing economic and social initiatives of the sector? That is, if you look at Nigeria, people always discourage agribusiness because they believe that it's just using crude tools. And these students, as an economist, is now asking these questions that, how can I start a successful agribusiness in Nigeria, despite the peculiar situation of the sector? Thank you. And I'm going to hand over to my colleagues, Mrs. Ashinobola, to read out the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All protocols duly observed. Very quickly, I'll just read the questions I have here. Sir, please, how do I find or locate my passion? That's one of the questions. How do I locate my passion? Also, we have another question which says, data science is a broad subject matter. Is it better to generalize or focus in one area of data science? Is it better to generalize and have a bit of everything or focus on one specific area? And then also another question here says, is it possible to get skills along with work? So can I acquire some skill sets while working as an employee, probably in an organization or so? And finally, concerning career opportunities for a social scientist in the police force or military, is it an achievable endeavor sorry, let's just leave that. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not sure I got the last question.
Please disregard the last one. Please
Okay.
disregard. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so is that all? Can I start answering them now?
Do we have any other questions, please? If you have question, you can come out to ask your question. Anybody? Or you have anyone written that you want us to read out there? You can.
Please, if you have any questions, put them in writing or you come out. This webinar was specifically organized for you. Career opportunities. Think of the questions you have regarding career. We don't want it to just be the regular webinar and we go, hey, the resource person, very vast, God has helped him. Think about what you know is going to be very beneficial. That's why we organized this program. So if you still have any questions, you are free to do that very quickly, please.
Any question? We have one with you. All right. Okay, we can take the response.
Should I take the questions here and then maybe subsequent questions would come later?
All right, yes. Yes.
Okay. So the first question is about how to find online job as a student. Right. So there are two things I will say about that. There are some websites, I will share them with my good friend, Dr. Basaju. I used to call him Obasajulistic in nomenclature. I will share some sites with him. Now, those sites are remote job sites. But let me say this very quickly. If you don't want to be wasting your time, you want to look for remote jobs that have specific skills. Those ones will pay you more per hour. I don't know if you get my point. So for example, when I share the sites, you will see some jobs, they will say, oh, help us identify something in this. They will give you a large data set. If you have, for example, if you have specific skills, if you have R or Python skills, for example, you can do that in 30 minutes, but you charge 3 hours because you are using your intellectual ability. So the first thing I would advise, honestly, is get those skills. Then the sites that I will share with my friend Shego, he can then share it with you. And then if you want to earn some money, feel free. I mean, the world is an interesting place now, right? So yes, you can earn money while still in school, if the VC would allow, or if the school would allow, if they don't mind. But you can earn money if you have the skills. So the first thing is get those skills, and then do that. So I will share that with my friend Shegu. Somebody asked about how to start agri business. Now, I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer this question, right? Because I've never started an agri business before. So I would pass on that. Now, another person asked a question on how do I locate my passion? Now, I think this is key. And honestly, what I would say is, locating your passion is nobody can locate it for you. It's you who will say, what do I find joy in doing? What do I do easily? Right? What do I do easily? For me, that's the easiest way it's even possible that you studied economics or you study business admin, but your passion is in music or something. So what is it that you don't stress in doing? Today, right? I lecture the undergraduate students on business analysis. Because if you wake me up in my dream, I can analyze a business for you, either from the financial perspective or from what I think the business should do to grow their business. So yes, those Oyinbos sometimes struggle to hear me when I talk because I have a very strong Nigerian accent according to them. But at least it's something that I find joy in doing. It's something I do easily. So my answer to that question is, honestly, just locate something that is easy for you to do. So for example, if you're a quant person, if you're somebody that likes numbers, tailor your career towards quantitative areas, right? Machine learning, all those software engineering. If you are the type that like the software type kind of issues, tailor your career towards it, right? I mentioned things around governance, things around legal perspective, those kind of things. That's what you want to tailor your career to. So the best way to locate your passion is to find what it is that's easy for you to do. That would be my answer to that. Now, I like the next question, and I agree. Data science is very broad. I agree completely. But the way I look at data science is, so I'm going to break it down now very quickly. Number one is this data engineering. Data engineering is simply about getting data out, cleaning the data, and all of that. That's a field on its own. So that's one. The skills you need in data engineering is structure querying language, Adobe, PySpark. Just Google it. You will see those skills there. So that's one on data engineering. There is also part of data science is, I think I mentioned statistics, right? You need basic knowledge of statistics. That's also key. Then the science itself, so you need machine learning skills, right? So data science is broad, I agree, but there are different sides of it. So there is data governance, right? Which is about ensuring that you have the right type of data. There's data engineering, I mentioned that, which is about making sure that, you can bring out the data from the system. There is business analysts also. Then there's the data science itself. Now, data science itself is now what is divided into three, which is descriptive, prescriptive, and predictive, right? So all of these have special skills that you need for each of them. Okay, so I think I've answered that question. Then the next question talks about, is it possible to get skills along with work? Yes, in fact, this question is very interesting because if you start working now and you are not developing yourself, a young boy, if you are not getting skills as you are working, you just discover that somebody who just started yesterday is made to be your boss. So one of the requirements, basic requirements in today's world is your ability to upskill while still working. I told you guys, I was still working. I did not resign when I started learning SQL, and all those things. You won't resign because, you have bills to pay now. So you need to be able to learn those skills while still working. And honestly, my own theory is this, and I've always used this even while I was in school, is that I dedicate at least 1 hour. I said at least because sometimes it can be more, but at least 1 hour every day for personal development. At least 1 hour. So even if you are working, for example, and let's say you get home, if you are working in Lagos, and worst case scenario, you are home by 8 p.m., 9 p.m., right? So you sleep. If you sleep from 9 till 5, you have tried now, and then you use 5 to do your personal things, you can use 1 hour that day in the morning to study. What skills should I acquire and things like that, So that would be my own advice. I think I've answered all the questions I was asked. Are there other questions you want me to ask, or are there comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have additional 7 more questions from the students.
Okay.
I also want to thank you very much for your sharp response. Now, the first question, as an accountant in the business world, you mentioned some by the directive of the Honorable Vice Chancellor. I've been directed to call the student up to come and ask the question personally. Please, as an accountant, student, please, a round of applause. Please encourage the student to come up. Thank you very much, Akwanta. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our wonderful Vice Chancellor. And so we also have online questions too, man. Please, a round of applause for him. Please.
Good afternoon, sir. The question goes like this. As an accountant in the business world, okay, my name is Ikmantani Beniza from the Department of Accounting 400 level. As an accountant in the business world, you mentioned some emerging opportunities. Please, sir, which of these opportunities do you think an accountant can venture into? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Next person. Quickly.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Umbanifo Joy from Accounting Department 400 level. My question is, I was unable to do IT due to the COVID. So, and I've never had any job experience before. So I'm asking, how can I get a good paying job without connections or feel like I don't know what I'm doing, like when I enter into the organization? And apart from that, what is your own take on trading?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Obida Kwatemlolua, Accounting 400 level. My question is, do you have any tips for me to, like, when you get into the corporate world, like, how do you adapt to, like, the protocols, the rules, or the policies of the business? Like, how do you know what exactly is expected of you, and, like, how do you go about it? Like, is there any tips for things like that? Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Biobaku Ololade Peace. My question is, I have a lot of skills that I like doing, but I don't know which one I'm passionate about. So how will I know the one like I want to use for my career, like career opportunity? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Sir, my name is Priscilla Joshua from Accounting Department 300 level. Sir, please, is cloud computing important to social scientists?
Good day, sir. My name is Odendere Olua from the Department of Economics 400 level. And my question is, we know that data is needed in business, industry, and all those places. But what about the military and the police force? What career opportunities are available for a data analyst in this place? And are they actually viable for someone to go into?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, round of applause. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Opalua Faith from Department of Economics 300 level. My question is like a personal question. I find interesting seeing that the economy of a country like Nigeria, I just love to see that it goes well. So what areas can I build? What skills can I build in that area that can help me to go further?
Now we have the last question. That's an online question. So, as a finance professional, will I be limited if I focus solely on improving my Excel skills without giving attention to R, SQL, Python, etc.? A round of applause. Thank you very much. The Vice Chancellor, thank you very much. Thank you, the guest speaker.
Okay, first of all, I like the questions. I like the quality of the questions. I think that speaks also about the quality of education that Landmark is giving, and that's very commendable. So the first question is about which opportunity can an accountant venture into out of the ones I've mentioned? I am an accountant, right? I had to venture into data because, like I said, I was on the same role for about 4 years. I needed to do something. So for an accountant, you know, when you are in studying accounting, right? There are different aspects. There's financial management, there's performance management, there's auditing, there's taxation, right? Then there's financial reporting and all of that. There is none of this that you won't put numbers into. True or false? Those numbers are data. So when I say that in today's world, you need to have at least one data skill, even if you are in taxation or something, right? In today's world, you need to be able to have that. So whether you are in accounting, whether you are studying, if you are studying accounting, right? My honest opinion is, first of all, I mean, very basic, get your certification, because in today's world, people will even say, if you don't have this certification, don't bother applying, especially for core finance roles. So you want to get that out of the way. And then you now want to get a skill. And like I said earlier, there are different aspects of accounting. There is none of those aspects that does not involve numbers. So your ability to be able to use numbers, whether you are auditing, you are doing financial reporting, you are doing taxation, you are doing performance management, you know all those performance management, what's that thing, economic order quantity, all those things. It is numbers you are using. By the way, there's a course here, right, that is one of the biggest courses in the US called supply chain. You know what they do there? They just do what demand forecasting. That's what they do. And you see people earning $200,000, $150,000. It's not those things that I heard that made me want to compare. Because these are things that are low-hanging fruits. So even if you're an accountant, honestly, right, you want to just pick which aspect do I like the most. If you like performance management, for example, right, what's performance management? You are getting data out, you are analyzing the performance, It's under performance management, you are doing things like balance scorecard and all those things, right? So even at that, you need to be able to have some of these skills. So I think that you're an accountant does not, in fact, nobody cares what you study in today's world. Okay. So I think I've answered that question. How can I get a good job without connection? That was another question that somebody asked. Look, I'll be very factual with you. I told you about a young boy that I met who had finished school, was looking for a job. He finished a year before I met him. No, he finished 7 a year before I met him, right? I didn't know him anywhere, but it was his skill. It was his skill that I wanted. When he was thanking me and saying, he was speaking in Yoruba about, I was laughing because I needed him. He was thanking me for giving him the job, but me in my mind, I was thanking him for accepting the offer because I needed the boy. So for me, what will separate you from the crowd? Connection is good, is your skill. Your skill. What do you have that not many people have it? Another tip I will say is this. If you have that skill and you are very good at it, create a very good LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile. And write about the skill that you have on LinkedIn. Write about it. Now, there are some platforms that are global that allows you to showcase your skill. One of them is Kaggle. I don't know if people have heard about Kaggle. Kaggle. Kaggle have competitions that is available all over the world. If, for example, you are very good with Python or you are very good with Excel, go to Kaggle. You will see the skills required for each of the competition. Pick one of the competition there. You know what happens in Kaggle? Let me explain it quickly. Organizations have challenges that they are trying to solve. They will then go to Kaggle. This is my challenge. Let me put it there. Anybody who can solve this, I'll pay the person $10,000, $5,000. And I'm not telling you something that is, you can Google it, www.kaggle.com. So you don't need connection anymore. The internet is the biggest connection you can have. Well, aside from God. Aside from the Holy Spirit, the next biggest connection you can have is the internet because your skill is now global. So all you need is have access to the right information, the right websites to go to. It's those days that somebody will leave school and then he will be begging his parents for money. No, before you leave, get those skills and sell yourself on LinkedIn, sell yourself on platforms like Kegu and all of that. And before you know it, people will pick you up. Now, another thing I should mention before I move to the next question is that organizations go to those platforms to see who has won those awards in the past. Then they will reach out to you. I have a friend, he's there in Nigeria, right? He was my colleague, right? What he uses his weekend to do is online jobs. So you will see somebody who just finished 2 years ago and is living in Ikoyi or is living in Lekki. It's not the salary that is feeding him. He's selling his skills. So please forget the concept of, oh, I don't know one senator or something. That era has gone. I don't know the opinion of the lecturers about some of these things I'm saying, but that era of, oh, I don't know this thing, so that's why I'm not able to get to the best. That era has gone. I didn't have anybody, well, except God, before coming here. Before coming here, I knew no, like I didn't even know anybody before coming here. So if you check my family history, you'll be wondering what's another they're just doing here. So the biggest connection you need now is internet. And as you mentioned, it's not social media. It's not Twitter or what's the other one? You see, I've forgotten them because you can hardly find me there, but you know, some of those social media platforms, that's not what I'm talking about though. I'm talking about LinkedIn, Kegu, all those things. Okay. Now, I didn't quite get this next question. Is the person talking about my take on trading or on training? Right? If it's about trading, is it trading or training?
Trading, sir.
Okay. So honestly, my wife is a trader, right? Her passion is business. Honestly, I think what will separate you from the crowd is pursuing your passion. So if you feel you have the ability to trade, buy cheap, sell high, why not? Why not? At the end of the day, you want to look back at your life and say, I lived a good life. I enjoyed the life. I enjoyed what I was doing. That's the essence. So if you like trading, I have no issue with it at all. And I think trading is good, especially in a country like Nigeria, right? Right, where you can buy from the north and sell in southwest and things like that. So trading is great. I have no problem with it. If that's your passion, please pursue it, right? Pursue it. And then what will separate you also from other traders is now the knowledge you got while in Landmark University, you know? So I think I've answered that. How do you adapt to, now this question is about, so how do you adapt to environment when you start working? So what I would say is that always ask questions. Always ask questions. The VC, when she was talking, talked about encouraging her children to ask questions. And I think your ability to ask the right question is a skill in itself. You understand? I told you guys, I told people about the fact that I was helped. I was helped by various people. I can't deny that. At various junctions of my life, I locate someone, and then I'll go to his office and ask. So you start that relationship by asking questions. Oh, I want to do this, sir. How do you think I should go about it? You look at the person's, some of those bosses will even be excited that you're asking them those questions. Right? So ask questions. Don't be apologetic about questions and your ability to ask questions. Don't. Ask as many questions as possible, and you will locate bosses who will help you answer those questions. That way, you'll be able to navigate any institution that you are in. Organizational politics exists. It exists, and that's why you want to be able to, you know, ask the right questions. How do I deal with this person? How do I deal with that person? just so that you are not in the wrong books. Okay. I don't know how. Okay, so somebody talked about the fact that he said she's very passionate about a lot of things. She doesn't know which one she should pick. My answer to that will be, which one can you monetize? I don't know if everybody can hear me. You can have several passions, right? Or several skills, but ask yourself, which one can you easily monetize? So the one that you can easily monetize is the one that will be, that I would suggest you pursue first. It's your passion anyway, right? And then you can earn money while doing it. The boy I told you about that I met, that is now in Qatar, that boy, if you give him a challenge and all that, he's comfortable sitting down in front of system from morning till night coding. You understand? That's his passion. He probably knows other things, but he was able to monetize that one. So if you are a multi-skilled person, there are people like that that can do several things. I am not multi-skilled. I am terrible at a lot of things. So, but some people are very good at several things. So pick the one you can monetize and monetize it. I hope I've answered that question. Now, somebody asked about, is cloud computing important to social scientists? Friends, cloud computing is the new oil. Let me tell you what cloud computing is about. So in the past, when you want to get, when you have, at the basis of most computing ability is data center. That's where the data goes into. Now, the challenge is that when that data begins to rise, your data center gets filled up easily. So what a lot of big organizations have done is to create large data centers in low-cost areas. Now, the advantage of that is that, for example, if you're a startup, if you're a fintech and you want to start business in Nigeria today, you know why a lot of banks are shaking now? Because fintechs are taking part of our pie. You know, I'm sure you guys have heard about Paystack, Flutterwaves, and some of those people, because the barrier to entry has reduced, right? I'm sure they've talked about things like Potter's 5 forces, things you need when you're analyzing an industry. The barrier to entry has reduced, especially for payment services in banking. And what is driving that is cloud computing, because you don't need to have those servers anymore to be able to do these things that we're talking about. So you want to have cloud computing ability, or at least have an idea what it's about as a social scientist, right? Have an idea of, what exactly. So even if you are not an expert in cloud computing, but at least be conversational, be able to hold a conversation on cloud computing. Now, I talked about machine learning and some of those things. Now, machine learning, if you are doing it by yourself from ground zero, is a lot more difficult. But if you are connected to maybe Azure or AWS, it's just drag and drop. It's a lot easier. So I would say that in today's world, you want to learn cloud computing, or you want to at least have an understanding of it, even if you are not an expert. Now, I'm not saying you should be an expert in a lot of things. Just pick one and be an expert in it, but be able to hold a conversation in several other aspects. Okay, so somebody asked about what career opportunities are available to people who like data or who are in data field and they are in the military. Now, I don't know so much about the military in Nigeria, but I have a couple of friends here in the US who are military guys who are now in the MBA trying to do their MBA. And when I hold conversations with them, you wonder at the way they were able to intelligently analyze some of these war decisions that we see, right? So at the back of that also is some form of computing and analysis and machine learning and all of that. So regardless of the industry that you find yourself, these things are key, right? So like I said, I'm not sure, I don't know what happens in Nigeria, but I'm just telling you globally, these things are key, regardless of the industry that you're in. So somebody said that her passion is, she loves the economy, she loves the Nigerian economy, she wants it to do well, and all of that. Honestly, what I would say to you is, maybe you just like economics, and that's great in itself, right? So maybe you're another Dr. Basaju, right? So maybe you're another Dr. Basaju. So if you like economics, pursue it. We're in the same class, right? Me, I like money, he like book. So if you are the type that, pursue it, if that's your passion, and then you can become another Dr. Basaju, right? Then somebody asked about whether Excel skills is enough. So that's the last question I have here. Now, Excel skills. Excel is a very powerful tool. A number of things that you can do with your Python and your R, Excel can do it for you, right? So you want to make sure that you are grounded in Excel. If you are very good in Excel, it's a good starting point, to be honest. So if it is Excel that you are good at, be very good at it. And you know, there are new add-ins to Excel. I hope you guys are aware. You know, let me give you an example. Something like data table on Excel. Something like what if analysis. Goal seek. Right? So Excel is a very powerful tool, very powerful. So if that's how you want to start, it's a good starting point. Right? If you are the type that don't want to go straight into learning some of those skills we've talked about, start with Excel, but make sure you know it very well. So those are my answers to the questions. I hope I've answered them well. Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. So now we're going to the next thing on the program, and that's a remark from the chairman, Landmark University Student Council. And that's Mr. Lewis Divine Success.
Thank you very much. The Vice Chancellor, Landmark University, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I want to return the glory to God this afternoon for this wonderful event. And I also want to deeply appreciate our guest speaker. Thank you very much, sir, for those eye-opening sessions. Thank you very, very much. I want to appreciate also the management of Landmark University, and of course, the College of Business and Social Sciences for bringing up this eye-opening webinar. Now to my fellow students, I'd like to say this. The function of education, according to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is to train one to think critically and to think intensively. I sat down there and I began to wonder, Landmark University has provided a platform where our potentials we manifest. However, we have roles to play. It is not in all universities that platforms like this are put in place. So I'd like to advise each and every student in this room today. Some of us are in final year, some penultimate. Our guest speaker said something, he said, what will distinguish you is what you know or what you can do that not many others can do. And this is in line with a statement from our Chancellor. He said, in life, you can either stand out or blend in. Anywhere you find yourself, what will make you stand out is what you know that others don't know. I conclude. For those of us that are stepping out, the world out there is very big and large, and there are a lot of competitions. It is only when you have an age that you'll be picked. And one of the ways to go about that is to develop yourself. He said, every day, I took that, he said, every day, invest 1 hour minimum to self-development. Please let us adopt or learn from him. And I know when we step out, the world will be celebrating us. Once again, thank you very much for this great opportunity, and God bless you.
Thank you, the Chairman, Landmark University Student Council. To take us to the next part of this program this afternoon, permit me to invite the Head of Department Accounting and Finance, the presence of Dr. Samuel Fakle for the webinar appraisal.
Good afternoon. The First Chancellor, I want to thank the Department of Economics for bringing this on board. It's been so interesting and so educative. We've been fully educated on how to make our career. And those points mentioned during the lecture given to us by the guest lecturer is, I want just to mention some of them. First of all, pick or choose what you have passion for. We should take note of that. You choose what you have passion for and develop skill in it. That distinguishes you from others. And that catapults you, to the top. Then he encouraged our students to get support system. You get support system. People that you can ask questions from concerning whatever you want to do in life, and that they are ready to support you positively. You should identify them and liaise with them. Then networking is very, very important. Networking is very, very important. You have to network. And why doing that is not on social media, but through, channels that can add value to you. Then we must be trusted. Thank God we are in this university where we have this as one of our core values. You must be dependable. That moves you up in any organization. That gives you opportunity of being assigned duties by your boss in any organization you find yourself. If you can be trusted, then sensitive jobs will be given to you, and doing it well means you are moving up. Then certification justify your knowledge. Please don't forget that. best key keep you or make you to enter and keep you in that job. Please take note of that. It's very, very important. Then we should be global in our thinking. Should be global in our thinking. Then linkage profile. You look for that outlet too, where you sell yourself. And he mentioned cargo, where we can easily go and see problems online and provide solutions to them. We can make money from that. Then our online participants, we have 22 participants online, apart from those of us who are here. The coverage has been so beautiful. The connectivity is clear, and there's a good understanding due to that. Then question and answers. We've asked beautiful questions and solutions already provided to such questions. So I advise us to please take all this into consideration as you go in life. And God will continue to bless each and every one of you. We will see you higher and higher in Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Fakile. Now, it's time to welcome our Vice Chancellor for the closing remark. Can I ask us to stand while we welcome the Vice Chancellor?
Thank you. Please, may we be seated? I wish we can continue on this. If you so desire that we continue, can I see your hands up? Very few, very few, very few. Okay. Let me start by appreciating our guest speaker this afternoon in the person of Mr. Kolawole Oladejo. Can we put our hands together for him, please? If you are sure you are taking something today from him. Honestly, Dr. Oladejo, we cannot thank you enough. If you had been here physically, we would have marked you with our mark of landmark. But that you are not here is not, well, let me, with the permission of management of Landmark University, say that today we confer on you ambassadors of kings and queens of Landmark. You are the ambassador of kings and queens of Landmark. Our students here are called kings and queens. And so we make you today an ambassador to them. I want to believe that the HOD economics, we take it up from here. We've been talking. Honestly, we've been talking. Can I say this? Ambassador to the kings and queens that have skills. It's not to everyone that have skills. You have been opened up today to identify 3 key things. 1, in addition to what the HOD accounting and finance has just rolled out with respect to giving a summary of what we have received today. You are taking away 3 key things. 1, your knowledge base, and that is the certification we are looking at. 2, your passion. Your knowledge base will motivate your passion. And then number 3, the passion you have will be guided so as you develop your skill. So 3, your knowledge base, your passion, and your skill is what will launch you to the world. If you have these 3, out of this meeting today, out of this webinar today, I tell you, you will soon link up with Mr. Kolawole Oladejo. And many more are still coming. I believe God, before the end of April, will still bring in some special persons to come here and tell us what we need to hear, so that at the end of the day, is the world of works that will be waiting for you, not you looking for world of works. Do you understand what I've just said? The world of works will be searching for you, waiting for you to come, not you looking for the world of works. And that is the objective we have as the new management. And I pray God will help us to get there. So on this note, I want to say, go out from today and manifest your skills. Go out from today and show forth your skills. I tell you, the knowledge base you have is not sufficient, but it's your skill that will sell you to your world. Like we said last week, your skill is your selling point, and you make you marketable. And we have testimonies across the globe. Today, we have a testimonial again with respect to Mr. Kolawole Oladejo. And I want to say that very soon, he will be looking for you, because it's your skill that will make that happen. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? And I pray you go well. Thank you to everyone, and God bless.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor. At this point, I'll be inviting the head of department's economics, Dr. Obasanjo Barnabas, for the vote of thanks.
I want to appreciate everybody, starting with our amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Charity Aremu. Please, our hands together for her. We appreciate your patience. We want to thank the registrar, ably represented by our one and only Mr. Samuel Dari. Please, let's applaud and appreciate. Thanks to our professor in the house, Professor Tony Wanji, head of Department of Accounting, and the director, Lucrid. Want to appreciate Dr. Abiola, also want to appreciate all my colleagues. Our queens, kings and queens, want to appreciate all the anchors. Don't let me start mentioning names one by one, and friends. I want to appreciate everybody. And I want to thank my dear friend, the guest speaker, Mr. Kolawole Olajide Oladejo. Please, let's applaud again. You can see that you have been able to learn a whole lot of things. Those are the ways of our class then, back then, University of Ilorin. We graduated together 2005 sets, BSc Economics. There's something I want to request from my friend, Mr. Kolawole Olajide Oladejo. I want to crave your indulgence to be a mentor to some of our students, selected students. There's a way we are going to determine that the students that will come on board. But I want to first take permission from our amiable Vice Chancellor. I hope that, okay, she said she has given the go-ahead. So, my friend, Mr. Kolawole, I hope that is okay by you. It will be selected weekends. It may be once in a while as determined by you. I believe this is going to help so many people. There are opportunities that one should not take for granted. There are things, I keep on telling my students that there are things that if I go back, if I have opportunity to go back to my university days, there are things I will learn. There are things I will do differently. My friend said that Dr. Basaju likes book. Now I have started to like money like you. And I'm able to also use my skills to generate money. So finally, I want to appreciate everybody. Please don't let it be just one of those webinars. Go and sit down and develop skills. develop skills, go through all these things that we have learned and start working on them. And everybody will be better for it in Jesus' name. Thanks also to the technical crew, to the director of photography, to student council, to everybody that I might not have mentioned your name, friends from different departments. God bless everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, the HOD Economics Department. Okay, we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you, sir. So I'll be welcoming Dr. Obadiaru for closing prayer.
Let's pray. Can we rise on our feet? So we'll pray. Thank you very much. God bless you. In Jesus' name. Lord, we appreciate you for this privilege to learn today again in this webinar. We give you all the glory. We thank you for this privilege. We thank you for what has been learned so far, and we ask that it make impact in our lives in the name of Jesus. For our students, they will not come out looking for jobs. Jobs will be looking for them. In the name of Jesus, we ask for grace to be diligent, to learn the skills, to pick the relevant skills. In the name of Jesus, we ask for grace not to be distracted by irrelevant things in the name of Jesus. And we also ask that the impact of this webinar will drive Landmark University towards its goal for global relevance. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Surely, God's goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and we shall dwell in this house forever and ever. Amen. Okay, group photograph.
Yes. Students, staff here present,